Hi everyone. I'm Laura Overdeck from Bedtime Math, and for those who are familiar with us, you know that our mission is to help kids love America's most unpopular subject, math. Now the thing is, math is important. This is the electric meter on my house. I got very up close and personal with it because my husband and I discovered that every year our electric bill was going up and we didn't know why. So I learned how to read this thing with all these dials, and I would run in and out of the house and turn things on and off to see how fast the thing would spin. And I found the culprit. It was our clothes dryer. We kept having more children. And as you have more kids, you have more laundry. And they get bigger and dirtier, and there's more laundry. And because we did the math, we figured out how to solve the problem. Stop having children. The thing is, there are lots of cases where we kind of putter along and don't really think about the math. This is our map of the US with Alaska shoved in the corner. If you actually drew Alaska to scale, it would look like that. The other thing that is the same width as our country is our moon, which goes around and around over our heads. Every day we move along and we don't really grasp some of the most basic numbers around us. And the thing is, it touches on every part of our life. It's not just the careers in STEM that we talk a lot about. It's just your basic life, being a smart voter, understanding a deal when it's being offered to you, understanding that warranties are almost never worth it. It is always priced for them. My husband and I buy no warranties except on the car. And I don't have a rational reason for that. Just understanding where you are on the map. It's important to understand math, and our country really does not like this subject and does not feel comfortable with it, and it's having terrible repercussions, and we want to turn this around. And to turn it around, you have to start early. A few years ago, Stanford neurologists came out with a study. They had followed kids from ages 8 to 14 for 6 years. And at age 14, they looked at these kids to see who was good at math and what along the way could have predicted. And they found that it was not their test scores, their memory skills, their grades. The number one predictor of whether they were good at math was their MRI at age 8. The kids at age 8 who had more connections between the spatial and enumeration parts of the brain, essentially algebra and geometry, were better at math than the ones who did not. That's kind of chilling. It shows how important it is to lay that groundwork for kids very early on. There's also work going on at the University of Washington where they have a baby wear essentially an MRI helmet. They touch the baby's hand, a spot lights up. They touch the baby's mom's hand, and that same spot lights up. They have empathy within hours of birth. They then show the baby a video of her own mom having her hand touched, and there's no reaction. So there's something else going on, which is the power of a person in the room. And I think that that's a very relevant point as we talk about, at this conference, technology and how we're going to use it to help education. These folks did another study teaching Mandarin to toddlers and found that the ones who had the live instructor learned so much more than those who had the video of the instructor with the same content. Some of you may be familiar with this. So this brings me to how bedtime math fits into this picture. We all know to read a bedtime story to kids, and we all grow up to love books as a result. Why doesn't our culture have that with math? So my husband and I, for years, have given our kids a funny math problem at night, like this. Who does not want to hear about chickens playing a xylophone? Some bored farmer felt that her chickens were bored. She put a xylophone in the pen. This was a viral video. Kids love this stuff. We give them a story, we explain it, and then because I have 3 children, there are 3 levels of questions asking about the story. Which bar was 3 over from the green bar? Or if you have this many feet in the pen, how many chickens? This started as just a fun thing we do in our house, but I eventually launched it as a website, and it became an app. It's had 250,000 downloads. And what we're most excited about is the research on it, showing that when UChicago took almost 600 kids and gave half of them our math app and half a reading app, which is actually our app with reading questions, the kids who had the math one, after 1 school year, were ahead 3 months in their math skills. This is with a free app. And why? Because of our differentiators, which are that, it's not popping up, which are that it's the parent holding the device, it is an in-person conversation. The parent is essentially turned into a one-on-one coach and guide in math, which you cannot get in the classroom right now. And it's just very human. It's getting all that activity to fire off. There we go. So I want to talk about two other things we're doing that are not as technology focused, but I'm very interested to continue conversations with people about how we could partner or bring technology. We are a nonprofit. As we do all this, all our products are free, but we think there's a real opportunity to reach a lot of kids. We started a math club also called Crazy Eights. It's very hands-on. It's not Math Olympiad. Kids make clocks on the floor. They send stuffed animals down zip lines. And we've started thousands of these around the country. And what's different here is that it's all very in-person and social. And what we're trying to do is make math cool. Now, we have Johns Hopkins studying this to see if it's also reducing math anxiety and improving achievement. But the most notable thing that's come out of this is that teachers have come to us begging to take these activities and bring them into the classroom. And this leads to our push that we're doing right now, which we call Up the Ladder. We're taking these games we've invented, putting them in 10-minute chunks and layering them on top of the curriculum in a school. We're focusing on third grade because that's the year when a lot of kids fall off the cliff. It's multiplication, division, and fractions. A lot of adults don't understand fractions. We don't teach fractions well in this country, and they are critical. And what we're hoping here that's going to be the differentiators is that we've got really playful content compared to a two-dimensional worksheet or a screen. And it's very hands-on and tangible. And it also allows you to look at a topic very holistically. We don't teach fractions and show what a fraction is and then explain reducing a month later and have this total disconnect. It all happens in the game at once. Interestingly, every school we've talked to has wanted to pilot this next year because it cuts through all the bureaucracy. We're not messing with anyone's curriculum. And I'd be interested to talk to others who are breaking into schools to trade notes on how to get schools to embrace change. And with that, I just want to make the point that we do need to read, but we also need to do the math. So thank you for listening.